camera's looking pretty good. YOLO! Yeah! I thought I fucked my camera up. Didn't. What a guy. Slash flex. Gotta get the arms nice and high. Nice and high. You've got to be a big guy like this. Pumping iron. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Watch it. It will make your life better. Believe me. It will make your life so much better. Trust me. Trust me on that one. Quick reminder as always. Get your best of class transmogs in. I'm pretty sure the Warriors are still dominating. I checked it this morning. Those fucking Warriors, man, looking chief as fuck. Everything looks good on a Warrior. It's hard to go wrong, except male Blood Elves. But still, pretty damn good. It's been an awesome day, as always. I have been filming the Way of the Warrior 2 today, which has been fantastic, with some of you guys. A select group this time. We were doing the smaller, fiddlier, story-driven shots, which involve a lot of setup, as I'm sure those 4 guys will agree, who stayed with me for around 3-4 hours, as I had them walking up and down hills, backwards and forwards, over and over again, and being annoyed by the most stupid thing in the universe. Christmas trees. Motherfucking Christmas trees everywhere. In my shots. Where was the memo, Blizz? Where was the warning that this Christmas tree extravaganza was going to interfere with my filming of Way of the Warrior? Some might say I should have predicted that if I was going to film something in December, there was a likelihood of Christmas-themed stuff going to be around. But, not being that prepared, I did not prepare for that in the least. It was so fucking fail. It was absolutely the most annoying thing ever, trying to get specific shots that didn't involve a fucking Christmas tree. Some of the themes in the Way of the Warrior 2 are quite dark. There's some quite dark moments and some quite interesting things going on, I hope. And a Christmas tree really doesn't help that situation. It doesn't whatsoever. Also, what doesn't help is low-level people going AFK directly where you're trying to film. Did you know that there is a druid round about level 42 on EU Sylvanas, and his name is Rapist? I shit you not, his name is Rapist. His title is Professor. He's called Professor Rapist. Oh my god. Professor Rapist, unbeknownst to himself, decided to go AFK right in the doorway where we were filming. I shit you not. We were filming, we had it all set up, right? We had 2 wonderful gangsters who were about to be sent on a mission as part of the story for Way of the Warrior 2. And I said, okay, what we need to happen here is very simple. I need you to walk into the doorway, stand here, and then begin a conversation animated thusly, okay? You need to move your hands and stuff like that with your characters. Use your emotes, that kind of thing. Simple shot. We'd been filming for a couple of hours already. These guys turned into acting professionals. They had their macros down to a T. They're walking. They weren't overlapping. They were doing all brilliant things. We're about to film. The guys are waiting outside the building to walk into the doorway. It's clean. I've got the Christmas tree out of shot. I've done my business, right? I'm fucking Chris Nolan all over this motherfucker. I've got my shots. I'm giving it all this. And then, Rapist. Professor Rapist, the most evil villain you can possibly imagine in the real world. Professor Rapist walks into the doorway and just goes AFK. Right in the fucking doorway. Just walks up, he's like, hey, I'm Professor Rapist. I'm staying here. My god. And I was, how can I film with a rapist in the background? Literally labelled a rapist. Holy fucking Jesus. This is the most annoying thing ever. And the guys were going, hey, Rapist, can you move, please? Mr. Rapist? Professor Rapist, please could you move yourself to the side? Surprisingly, and very surprisingly, some of you will find this shocking almost, shocking. Everybody who was around the areas we were filming, who did manage to get into the shot or stand in a position that was just really, really awkward for what we were trying to film, moved. When we asked them nicely, it was like, excuse me, can you move? And they were like, sure, why the hell not? Instead of going, oh my god, this is my fucking spot, right? Everybody move around me. Why would you want me to move? We were just like, can you please move? Because as soon as we suggested, why don't we just ask them? What world are we in, right? Explain to me the fucking world we live in where one of the guys, Amon, suggested, why don't we ask him to move? And my instant gut reaction is, that will never work. That will never work. Like, that is the worst plan ever. I'm like, we need to get life grips down here. We need to fucking try and typhoon this motherfucker out of the way. My gut reaction was, that will never, ever work. Ask him? Are you crazy? This is World of Warcraft. One does not simply ask someone to do something, right? It doesn't happen. It was the most stupid gut reaction ever. I was like, I didn't even consider it. Ask him to move. I was like, that's never going to work. What am I going to do now? So he said, excuse me, can you move? And they were like, sure. And I was like, right. Didn't go, why would you want me to move from this completely inconspicuous location in the middle of a town? Why would you want me to do that? None of that. None of the bullshit. No fuck you. No ignoring me. He just went, sure, I'll move over there. And I was like, whoa, whoa. Professor Rapist, however. Professor Rapist does not move. Professor Rapist doesn't do what he's told. Professor Rapist does not live by your rules. He's not a part of your system. He's not, and Professor Rapist won't ever behave like that. Professor Rapist just stayed where he was. He just walked up to the doorway, planted his feet, and just went AFK. So we went off and filmed some other shots and hoped that he had logged out by the time we got back, and luckily he did. So only Christmas trees and rapists disturbed the filming of The Way of the Warrior 2. Remember that. It'll be in the director's cut. Because I have footage of Professor Rapist being in my doorway. Motherfucker, Professor Rapist, if you're out there, my eyes on you, son. And you should really be reported for that name. Seriously, Professor Rapist? That's dodgy. That's dodgy. We're going to do some questions today. I've had some awesome questions recently. Let me ask you a question. Why the hell not? Do you think that players in WoW fall into categories? Do they fall into boxes? Do they? Let's see some discussion in the chat. I want to know, do you think players in World of Warcraft are all part of a certain thing? Like the loot hole, Ghost, the professional, the overly excited, the noob, all these kind of things. Yes, let me see some suggestions of what you think these boxes are. What do you think these people fall into? Can we label everybody as such? Society says we can't. I think we can. Some people do fall into categories. Sure, they overlap. Sure, there's varying degrees. But in general, some people are annoying. And so on. The AFKer. The forever AFKer. The forever being summoned Ghost. The forever being summoned, the loot hole. Hey, while these are coming in, some good ones coming in. I joined in on the transmog run last night. Many of you are wondering, where's the big weekly video? You know what? I'm not going to release it till Monday. You know why? Because if I release it now, people will expect another one on Monday. That isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen. So it's coming out on Monday, right? That's just the way it is. It makes sense to me. If I release it now, you'll want another one on Monday. That's not going to happen. I'm going to get further and further behind. It's just going to be a big circle jerk of dog shit, so I'm not going to do that. So while I was working really late last night to try and get the video finished, I saw that Ghosty was live streaming, which is pretty cool, with the start guys. He finished his raid and decided to do his weekly transmog runs, which he does weekly, surprisingly. And he was going to ICC. I am debating which main class to play. I want to get back into raiding in patch 5.2, hopefully. And I was debating which class to play. I'm kind of torn at the moment between a DK and a mage. I would heavily favour the mage because I've never had as much fun in World of Warcraft as playing a mage, quite frankly. I've had so much fun recently on that class, I can't see myself getting bored of it and wanting to go back to the warrior. So my mage isn't capped, and the level 90 talents really bother me. They really, really do bother me. So I was kind of like, I need to cap my mage and play it at level 90 to just to get a feel of how annoying this level 90 stuff is going to be. So I started playing my mage a little bit. People were like, you decided on your mage. No, not yet, not yet. You're playing a mage, of course you are. No, relax, dude. Just take a chill pill. So I saw Ghost was doing one of his transmog runs, said I'd tag along. Best thing ever is we had Ben going crazy, as always. And we also had a multi-boxer there by a lovely chap by the name of Lightrath. Great guy. Sorted out the Minecraft servers that many of you play on. And he was in there. Lightrath was obviously multi-boxing. He's 5 shamans. And every time some loot drops, he was obviously couldn't be asked rolling on 5 characters. I don't blame him, right? That's really annoying. So loot would take a long time to be rolled. I didn't care. It'll be rolled by the end of the dungeon. Duh. No problem. One person in particular didn't care until something he wanted dropped. Mr. Ghost. It was the best thing ever. I noticed earlier in the raid that loot wasn't getting rolled for quite a while. Then I saw Lightrath was on his where Lightroth was on his Shaman. So I was like, oh, that's why. Then some boots drop that Ghost want. He's like, raid warning. Boom! Lightroth rolling fucking Shamans. Boom! Lightroth rolling fucking Shamans. Too sweet, my friend. It was class. It was classic Ghost. Classic Ghost, right? It's classic Phil. All good. So we're talking about categories of people. Let's see what you guys came up with. The slow tank. Oh, the slow tank. Dude. The slow tank. Oh, man. Playing my mage, I'm demolishing 5-man. Seriously, demolishing them. Absolutely ripping them a new asshole. And that's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, unless you've got a slow tank and you have a Pyroblast proc. Motherfucker, I'm still pulling, fuck it. Casuals, AFKers, RPers. I almost read RPers as rapists. Arena players, random BG people, and the ballers, of course. The bot likes. Oh, I like that one. The bot likes. Is this guy a bot? I can't work it out. Are you a bot? What are you doing right now? Like, the way you're behaving, like you're doing this with your bow and then just like auto-shotting and then the mob dies and you don't move. You know the guy? Do you know what I'm talking about? You're playing and you watch this guy and he's aiming at the mob and the mob dies and he just stands there like this. Oh shit. What do I do now? And then he goes, he puts his bow away and then he kind of shuffles. And then he finds a new mob, and then he goes away. That guy. The guy who blames the healer, the circle jerk, the Monday video slackers. Too soon, dude. Too fucking soon. They're hard to do. Hey, come on, come on. Okay, yeah. I love how many people guessed Ghost was the guy who's the only person that cared. The soppy bollocks. Many, many categories of people. Lots of them are sort of mixed together, right? But we do try and label people. It makes our lives easier. It does. We label people as like, that's the annoying dude, right? When we describe somebody, think of how you describe somebody. Even your best friend. If I was to describe Ghost to somebody, I'd be like, well, he's kind of like my height, you know, he's got like a mohawk, and that would be it. What more else do you want me to say? He's a guy. Most guys are pretty similar. You have little descriptions, little categories. We just want to put him in that box. He's that dude with the mohawk. You can't have missed him. He's probably just angry at somebody for some reason. All that kind of stuff. What about a brohawk? I don't know. So we like to categorize people. Now, one of you in particular had a bit of an issue with this, and it was newbie, N-E-W-B, versus newbie, N-O-O-B-I-E. What do you think the differences are? I want to see in the chat right now. What do you think the difference is between a newbie, N-E-W-B-I-E? I apologize if English is not your native tongue and the written version is quite difficult. I'm sorry. And no, why am I sorry? I'm not sorry. It's not my fault. N-O-O-B-I-E. What do you think the difference is? Newbie. The guy who doesn't turn off the mic on vent. Yeah, that's bad. The guy who has the baby in the background that cries all the time. Type it. New players versus shitty players. Newbie is less offensive. Ah, newbie is less offensive. I never considered that myself. But I suppose a newbie isn't that offensive. Same, they're both like you. Newbies equals bad. Okay, so the general idea of this is that newbies, N-E-W, as in new trainers, new jeans, new PC. Best day ever. New PC day. Oh, yeah. Or new cable day. PS3 this weekend, bitches. We're going to rock it old school with some Altered Beast. And then show you the gameplay. I can't fucking wait for this weekend. I'm really excited. Yeah, newbie tends to initiate as somebody who is actually new to the game. So we can't really blame people who make mistakes who are new to the game. Why would we do that? That's just really trollish and assholery. That makes us assholes and puts us in a box. Newbies tend to be people who don't want to learn. That's the way I would categorize it. If I was to say, what's the difference between these two with no other basis, I would say a newbie, N-E-W, is just somebody who has just joined the game and doesn't know a lot about it. Fine. A newbie, N-O-O, I would suggest is somebody who has been around for a long time and probably isn't very good at the game for whatever reason. Could be a number of reasons, such as they've never had to be good. One of the key things about WoW right now is some people do not need to be good at the game. We accept that. That is truth. That is fact. Some people do not need to be good at this game. In fact, nobody needs to be good at this game. You can achieve a lot without being very good. So I got a wonderful email, and I'll read it out to you in full. Now for the topic at hand, I always divide people into different categories, as we spoke of before. In-game, before I get any flames. Okay, I don't think that's anything wrong that some people do get labelled in RL. You know, we have very simplistic ideas about describing somebody. Only some sort of really over-the-top obsessive-compulsive person would describe somebody like what clothes they generally wear, things like that. I don't like that. They could be raiders, hardcore raiders, casuals, PvPers, achievement whores. I happily admit I belong in that category. Stupid, dorks. Hey, if you're going to use a word like dork in your email, I'm instantly aroused. Seriously, I've not heard dorks since Police Academy. I want to say Police Academy. I believe that they suntan lotion dork onto the Captain Harris's chest. Elitist pricks, newbies, and so on. Some people may belong into 2 or more categories. The biggest problem is having 2 specific type of people, the newbies and the newbies. I have been an officer in a number of guilds so far, 4 to be exact, and am now a guild master on my own. During my years of playing, I have seen many players that belong into these categories. Now, with these kind of players, you can do 2 things. Either leave them to their own or try to teach them a couple of things or give them pointers. Okay. Couple of things we can do there. Leave them to their own devices. Which category, this is going to be kind of awkward I guess, which category of person would you think is best left to their own devices? I'm just interested to see how the chat will deal with this. You have new players who haven't learned a lot about the game, and you've also got older players who don't know anything about the game for whatever reason. So, who would you leave alone? Noobs, the bad players, a prick, achievement horse, achievement horse, fuck them. Electric. I actually agree with Electric. I think very new players to the game should be left to get on with themselves and just discover things in their own way. Speaking to one of the guys who's in the Way of the Warrior 2 this morning, he was telling me he's got a lot of new friends, real life friends who've joined WoW, and he's left them to it, not giving them gold, not giving them any pointers, just get on with it. Wonderful thing to do. Newbies, I think newbies in terms of bad players, you have to do something with if they are in your guild. If you want a good atmosphere, somebody who's really bad at the game can either be the quiet type, who doesn't really say something, and is probably aware that he's not very good at the game. You will notice that, and maybe giving them pointers is actually a good thing to do. The disruptive newbies, who do not believe they are bad, are very dangerous to your guild. Very dangerous. So you have to do something very quickly about them. That is usually just kick them. Unfortunately, that is the way it goes. If it was for me, I would like to get them to the channel, maybe help them out. But I exist outside of the game. When you're in a guild, you have things to take care of, such as the environment. You do have to take care of the environment of your guild. A very hostile environment is not a great place to be. People don't want to log into that. Disruptive newbies who are, let's call them something else. Let's just call them baddie players. Baddie players who are not understanding that they are bad players and actually think that everybody else around them suck nuts. Very disruptive and can cause a lot of problems. I wouldn't be surprised to see them cause you great issue further down the line. If your gut instinct is telling you this guy's going to be a problem, he probably is. Time to get rid. The bad thing is that people are sometimes too afraid to say, dude, I don't know what I should be doing here. I stopped doing that particular thing very early on in my raid leader career. Very questions such as, does everybody know what to do here? Questions that will never get fucking answered. Are you kidding me? Who wants to be the guy who says, I don't know what to do? Nobody really wants to do that. Some experienced players will quite happily say that because they are comfortable enough to say, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I really don't know. Explain it to me. One of the good things, if I'm in a raid where somebody says, does everybody know what to do here? I say, explain it anyway. If this is something we can potentially wipe at, explain it anyway. Right? Because some people will believe they know what's happening and then be like, what the hell was that? What just hit me? And some people will be like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to piss anybody off by showing my lack of ability to watch a video or do the required notes that my raid may require of me. Things like that. It's not worth asking the question sometimes. If you're going to a new boss and you are of the opinion that it's better that we get the basics out of the way first, and you don't want to do this sort of first look, first glance, let's have a look at this fight and try and figure things out for themselves. It's all very well and good saying, hey, a meteor will land in this fight. Until you see what that meteor looks like, you might not be aware. You might be looking for something rolling at you. Or someone's like, oh, a meteor's going to fall out of the sky. So now your character's like, what the fuck? Where's the meteor? And then when you actually see it, you're like, oh, that's what it does. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. So depending on what you're doing, asking people if they know what's happening is generally not the best idea. If you need to ask that question, it's probably best you just explain it anyway and get it out of there. Preferably talk and type. Good tip to raid leaders. A lot of people don't understand what you're saying on Ben, regardless of where they're from. I'm serious. A lot of people really don't understand some of the words you're saying. Some of my oldest friends from other countries don't understand what I'm saying sometimes. Like, what? What did you say? I talk rather fast, I'm aware of that. But sometimes you just need to explain it. And written sometimes helps out. Onwards. So in Heroics and recently in LFR, I see way too many people fail at something that is obvious to me and our other experienced players. The big problem comes next. Most of the people automatically assume those people are noobs, as in bad players. They start yelling at them, calling them all sorts of things, and vote to kick them. I, on the other hand, want to be a bit more casual about this. See what the problem is. See if I can teach the other guy to do or not do something. Sometimes they understand, sometimes they don't. This is an interesting comment. It's a little bit White Knight-ish. There's a time and a place to try and help people. LFR certainly is not one of them. And I'm dead fucking serious. If you are really trying to help someone in LFR, add them to Real ID or do something, but do it after the raid. LFR is the worst possible environment you can possibly try and help somebody in, unless you are their friend and on some sort of voice communications. There's a time and a place for a discussion about how things work. LFR ain't one of them. It really isn't, because you are in literally hell's armpit. As soon as you enter LFR, you must accept certain things, such as the next hour of your life will be hell. Absolute hell. And depending on what kind of people are in there, you might have hardcore raiders and you think, this raid is going to be fucking awesome. Look at the gear this guy's got. He's AFK as fuck through the whole dungeon. He's a rogue who auto-attacks. Why? Because he doesn't give a shit. Everybody else can do it for him. I'm not helping you right now. Everything goes on in LFR. From the worst players pulling top DPS. What's going on there? That shouldn't happen. LFR is a fucking minefield. Helping people in there is not going to help out because they have the overwhelming vote and you are in the massive minority. If someone is slacking or doing really badly, they will be kicked before you can help them. It's not worth it. Maybe worth a whisper to say, if you really want to White Knight it, hey, I can see you struggling. I think these guys are going to kick you. If you want, add me to Real ID and I'll see if I can help you out afterwards, because you seem like you've been a decent guy and I can see you're actually trying. If I'm looking for somebody who might need help, I'm looking for somebody who seems to be doing things correctly but is getting poor results. They're casting all the time. They're not the healer who's staring at the tank health and ignoring the raid dying around them, going, yeah. Cascade! Woo! And then blowing some big fancy ass fucking spell, throwing Thor's hammer into the ground, or throwing off tranquility or something crazy. We hate those fucking people, right? Or those DPSs when the boss are pulled. I showed you in a video not too long back. I purposely stood out in an LFR. I stood to the side, I waited for the tank to pull, and then I filmed the back of the room. So many people who are just not doing anything at all. I'm not going to try and help those kind of people. No fucking way. You can't even see the bosses pulled. How do I improve on that? What pointers can I give you other than, can you see the boss has been pulled? Can you see that? Can you see that the boss is fucking moving? That's step one, right? Can you fucking see this is happening? If you want help, watch the screen, right? Stop fucking jerking off or eating cake or bacon sandwiches or fucking looking at porn or watching me on YouTube or watching some stream and then doing absolutely fucking... I can't get it. They stand there like this. But then they move. What's going on there? What's happening? You're not doing anything and then you move. So you're actually here. You were actually at your keyboard. They run, and then they stop again. They're like, whoa. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Has this boss been pulled? What? It's just, crazy, crazy shit. What I really don't understand is why so many people just look for an opportunity to lash out at people instead of settling down and try to work on the problem. Hey! Why don't you solve world peace while you're at it? Yeah, it's because people are dicks, right? And people are really defensive. That's why. And other people believe they're correct all the time. If we wipe on a boss because of somebody, we can take that as a challenge. Try to teach the guy and give him some pointers and try it again. Again, depends on the situation. If this is somebody you've invited to the raid, this can fall into a number of categories, right? If this is somebody you've invited to your normal or heroic raid, and you're aware that maybe in the past they had a good track history and they made some mistakes, that's fine. It's time to help them and say, hey, you need to be more aware of that, and then see if they learn from it. I'm deadly fucking serious. I do my best to help as many people in World of Warcraft as possible. I want you guys to have a good time. I'm a firm believer that anybody who does the most damage, does the best tanking, or does really solid healing is having a better time than the guy who didn't. I'm dead fucking serious. That is my main goal, right? I always saw, when I started the channel, it was literally people going, it's just a game, bro, everywhere. And people who did ask for help just getting like, oh, watch this video of me jerking off at a training dummy for 20 seconds. That's the guide on how you play your class. Me knowing differently, I was like, that's not how we do things. It's really not. This is how you do things. And it takes a good 20 minutes to sort of explain what the hell is happening with your class. That's why my videos are that long. And then people go, why is your video so long? Because that's what you need to know. You need to know what's happening here. You really need to know, and then you'll do much more DPS. And I am 100% positive. If you are topping the damage meters, if you are always consistently doing well, you're having a better time. I truly believe that. I truly, truly believe that. I don't think there's much challenge in the game in people not doing well. I want to see somebody fail at something. I'm okay with that. Everybody fails. I've failed many times. Everybody fails. I want to see someone fail. I want to explain it to them. I want them to learn from it. I don't want them to do it again. Consistent failure, that's a problem for me. I'm not into that. It means you're not trying. As far as I'm concerned, you are really not trying. If you keep dying to the same thing, or you're still not using a spell that we've said, hey, this spell is really awesome. Like that fucking druid. You know the guy who keeps typhooning the mobs? Do you know the guy? He runs into the mobs, right? You've seen this. I know every single person in this fucking chat right now has fucking seen this guy, right? The mob... I had a prop. I've lost my prop. Here's the pack of mobs where I am now, right? I'm the druid. I'm the moonkin, right? I'm the moonkin over here. And I'm like, moonfire, bitch. Fucking moonfire, bitch. Sunfire, bitch. And then I do this. Typhoon! Yeah! Fucking awesome. They come charging from fucking miles away, don't they? They come running over, and then they go, Typhoon! And then they go, really have run out of ideas. I have no fucking idea what I'm supposed to do right now. I don't know what the hell is happening next. I'm just going to move back. And then they like go back like this. Sunfire, bitch! And that's it. I hate, oh, that's that fucking guy. And then you say to him as you're tanking, and he's knocking mobs all over the fucking world. I just say to him, hey, can you not use Typhoon? And he goes, no answer. Or he says, okay. And then 3 or 4 packs later, he does it again. He goes, sorry, I forgot. You forgot not to Typhoon things? How do you forget not to Typhoon something? How do you forget not to come charging from way back there and Typhoon something? How do you forget that? Oh, man, that is definitely... My brain can't register that kind of stuff. We give you supplies, we try again. If the player in question just doesn't want to understand or is incapable of understanding, which is perfectly possible, some people just cannot wrap their head around simple things. We know that, right? We're not all going to be rocket scientists. We're not going to do that. We're not all going to be surgeons. Sometimes we just can't get our head around it. We're just not in that way. We haven't had the necessary building blocks to just understand the end game. It's all very well and good saying, hey, brother, or Terry, my random friend Terry, hey Terry, why don't you come and play World of Warcraft with me? We'll recruit a friend. I will cap your ass in like 24 hours. Oh, good, you're capped. Right, here's Heroic Madness of Deathwing. This boss is giving you haste. This boss is doing this. Now you're going to get a stacking debuff. It's like, whoa, what are you talking about, dude? I have no fucking clue what's going on. You can't expect that to happen. It would just be idiotic. We can't do that all the time. I say kick him as well if he's not prepared to learn or doesn't understand. If it's somebody who can't understand, I need to know why they don't understand. Is it because this is just too soon for them. Some content is just far too soon for some players. You can't expect people to play like they've been playing for 2 years because you just capped them and threw them into a raid. But if this is a player who has been playing for years and is still incapable of doing this, kicking is probably the only option. And maybe they need to go off and rethink and restart, essentially. Restart the game. They've had a bad start, restart. If they're prepared to do that, or they end up in the BG squad, just doing a random BGs all day, every single day, on their own, forever alone. Don't want to be forever alone. Or they end up in cesspool guilds. Ugh, even worse. I don't think there's anything worse right now in WoW than being in a cesspool guild. If you were in a cesspool guild, that means a guild that invited you the second you were guildless. Please leave and look for a real guild. And just to experience that, please, 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 please. But why don't we just give the poor guy a chance? When these people started this game, they were so damn good from the very start, as we just said. Did they know everything from the get-go? I sure hell wasn't. I was a complete noob when I started playing WoW, but now I understand to a point to say that I'm fairly good in this game. In brackets it says, in reality I kick ass. My warlock is the fear of all bosses and mobs. They even die before we actually fight in respect. His warlock has blessing of kings. I asked many questions I regret asking now, such as why shouldn't I stack as much armor as possible on my warlock? Screw intellect. Armor will enable me to survive. Hey, on my first warrior, I stacked agility gear, leather agility gear, because agility gave me more crit. Yeah. Agility gave me more crit. I was such a fucking pro. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. I love that I did that. Let's leave random pugs for now. I have been a raid leader since the start of Cataclysm. All this time I knew that we were a casual raiding guild. Good thing for a raid leader to know. What kind of guild are you? Very important to know that. So to me it didn't matter whether people actually had experience as much as those people wanted to learn and progress. However, in many occasions I lost some very good players because I wanted to take my time to teach a certain newbie about some things. This is the other great fear, isn't it? It's the great, great fear. You will have good players who are very impatient. That will happen. So a lot of guilds put up with a lot of bullshit to keep very good players. Seriously. To the point where they don't... I mean, players who will openly... Some of you will have seen this. It's quite rare to see people go this hard. But people openly suggesting and naming bad players in the raid team while everybody's online. It's one of the most outrageously rude things I think people can do. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we have a fucking problem with some players, but saying, you are a terrible player. Or what used to happen, actually... it happened to me not too long ago in Darkstorm, is I would have a conversation with somebody who was extremely opinionated and an extremely good player. Wasn't always correct, as I am not always correct, but stubborn to say the least. Did he want to admit he was wrong ever? No, under any circumstances. Also had absolutely no fear that he would never, ever, ever be kicked from the guild. Ever. Under any fucking circumstances. Why? He was really, really good. And had been there for a very, very, very long time. And so, when we get into discussions about various things, he was actually the main argument we had together was that he was a huge proponent that people who were really good in vanilla would still be really good now, and he wished we could have those players back. My argument, of course, is vanilla ain't shit. Playing well in vanilla don't mean a whole lot to fucking nobody, because vanilla is easy as fuck. Every single boss in vanilla is fucking simple. There is like, okay, not every single one. There are a couple of hard bosses, but in general, it was actually the game mechanics that made the bosses difficult because of how the system worked. Not being able to know who was in range of your heals, especially. Now that every healer in the fucking game knows exactly who they can heal and who can't, the dramatic difference in raid healing is overwhelmingly showing. Everything's an AoE heal now. For that simple reason is we don't need people looking who's next to me. Healing visually doesn't really happen anymore. It really doesn't. But in vanilla, it was kind of key to watch the screen and see who was taking damage because everybody was the same colour. So we had this argument, debate backwards and forwards. I wish I had him back because he was awesome in Molten Core. I wish we had him back because he was amazing in Blackwing Lair. And then I would point out, dude, vanilla ain't fucking nothing. Vanilla was nothing. You stick a vanilla boss in some of the raiders now, they will laugh their fucking ass off. Seriously, those bosses are retarded. And I'm including the AQ40 and Nax bosses. Some mechanic like Deciduous where we needed frost damage. That ain't shit these days. It's fucking nothing. It's a piss in the water. Really? We need frost damage for this phase? Okay. It's like, all right, we need. Oh, you need to stop attacking here. All right. Like, people couldn't do that. Can you not attack this mob? People in vanilla would be all over the place. They'd be like fucking thunderstorming, firing fireballs everywhere, all over the fucking place. Seriously, they would just be going crazy. It's like, can you stop attacking now? Take Uro. Many of you will consider Uro, if you ever did it, as quite a challenging fight. You know why? It had a threat mechanic. That's it. Uro had a fucking threat mechanic. Uro's mechanics, threat mechanic that knocked people back. And he would put the next two highest threat to sleep. So you had hunters do DPS. The trick to Uro was to not overpass the hunters. Seriously difficult fucking stuff, right? And then he would burrow and spawn ads. Yeah. Ads. That's it. That's one of the fucking most difficult fights in vanilla is Uro. That thing went unkilled for fucking ages. Seriously ages. A long ass time. People like to... I've done the video like Muru, overhyping bosses. Cthulhu is one of them. Right? The hardest part about Cthulhu, getting in the room, because it had chain lightning. Well, chain nature beam. Same shit, right? The hard part about Cthulhu, DPSing the ads. And then you look at fucking Madness of Deathwing, and you're like... Madness of Deathwing, we know, is a troll boss fight. There is like 8 million mechanics going on in Madness of Deathwing that all need to be organised, including picking and choosing what kind of buffs you want, right? Then you compare that to something like Cthulhu, and you're like, what? What is this fight? If that fight walked in now, it wouldn't even be a 5-man boss. So I had this big argument with him, and he went to the level of saying, well, this player's really bad, this player's really bad. And the dude was like, hey, what are you talking about? I'm right here. Why are you... What the fuck are you talking about? Why is my DPS bad? I've got world top rankings, which a lot of Darkstorm do have. They're very, very good players. And he's like, yeah, but sometimes you died to this mechanic. He's like, well, yeah, I make a mistake sometimes. So what? I'm like, 90% of the time, I'm absolutely fucking bang on. But I died to this and now I'm terrible. Yeah, you should know better. You're a terrible player. All this kind of stuff would go on. I'd be like, ugh, dude, man, just give it a fucking rest. And they would, if you're never in fear of being kicked, that's a scary situation. Scary situation. As I say, if you're recruiting and you're a raid leader, always have somebody on backup to say you've gone too far, and they will leave the guild. Be aware of that. If they ever get removed from the raid, they will leave the guild. They will straight up leave the guild. You know what? I don't give a shit. Leave the fucking guild, you asshole. You're creating more problems than ever. Best thing ever is sometimes it was a totally different situation, but people who are live streaming forget they're live streaming and talk shit about players in their own raid in whisper and get caught doing it. Best moments ever. Especially if the other people in the raid are watching the stream as well. I don't know why people do that. If you ever you raid, if any of you stream your raids, do your own raiders watch your stream? Why do people... You're in the raid. Why are you doing that? I don't get it. I don't get it. My question to you now... Oh, we got there in the end. Only took us 40 minutes. Is that wrong? Do I waste my time on this while those newbies, after some practice, become good raiders, or at least a number of them? Is it worth to take the time and teach them? I have been more than once shunned about this, but the only times I agreed with this opposing party was the times I had to take off our raiding schedule to teach a newbie something. They were right. You should come prepared to raid and ask any questions before raid time, or during the time we discuss the tactics. When we are here to raid, we are here to kick ass, not waste time talking. Okay, the answer to this question is a great question, by the way. It covered labels. This is a wonderfully written question, and handled the categorizations we put people in. I do tend to agree with that. Some people you meet are very similar in terms of how they foresee playing games. I'm not saying they're 100% the same. There's obviously varying levels, but they tend to lean towards one extreme. We all do. I like to say I don't care about loot. I always have a little bit of loot whore in me when something really awesome drops. Of course I do. Who isn't excited at the thought of getting some really serious loot? One indication of this was when the heroic ash candy dropped. I was a trial Frost DK, and I had the next best heroic weapon, which was called it's from Magmar. It's called the World something, I think. World Cracker, World Breaker, maybe. Some shit like that. It was some mace. I don't know. It was alright. It was great. I was topping the DPS meters pretty regularly. It was fine. But I was in a trial. I certainly wasn't entitled to the heroic ash candy. I was the Worm Breaker. There you go. Some shit like that. And the kill on Nefarian Heroic was a little bit strenuous on my guild at the time, but we got there. We got there. When it died, every other melee two-hander wasn't in the raid. right? Can you imagine that happening? And guess what dropped? One of the rarest drops off in the heroic ash candy. And begrudgingly, it was given to me. I do not fucking deny how excited I was. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I now have the best weapon in the game. Which is a great feeling, to have the best weapon in the game. Hey, what's better than that? Nothing, bitch! This is the best fucking weapon in the game. That's it. There's no two ways about it. It's the best fucking weapon in the game. I did get a lot of grief for that afterwards. People were pissed, but hell, you weren't in the raid. What the fuck do you want me to do? Turn up to the raid on time, you know? It was fucking great. Absolutely fucking great. It was a brilliant moment. It was a wonderful fucking moment. I really enjoyed it. But again, I don't care about loot, but those moments, really fucking amazing. They were great times. When should you or shouldn't you help people? Who should you help and who you shouldn't? A lot of you send me messages saying, hey, I found some player who was really bad and I sent him to your channel. He told me to go eat shit, or he told me he'd take a look at it. Most YouTube channels like mine form from word of mouth. That's the best way around doing it because there's a lot of people out there. So what do I say to this situation? I say there's a time and a place for it. And they are correct. You should not be spending an abundant amount of time dealing with a single player in a raid time. Because that is complete bullshit on your other raiders. Every single fucking one of them. If you're a 10-man, those 8 players are being shit on. Absolutely shit on. I wouldn't stand for it. If my raid leader decides to spend more than just a few minutes trying to explain something to somebody, I would be pissed. And noticeably so. This is raid time. This is time I have taken out of my life to play the game. My only connection, realistically, with everybody around me is that I want to raid. That's it. I don't expect to be friends with every single person. Most of the time we are, and we have a great time. But in general, I'm here to raid. I'm not here to turn up and then wait 30 or 40 minutes after we've cleared trash while you start talking to somebody. Even 20 minutes is far too fucking long. That is ages. That is an absolute joke. It's no different than somebody being late. The raid isn't progressing. When raid time goes, we should be pulling. If we have enough people at 5-2, we should be pulling then. We should be clearing the trash. We should be getting through this raid as quickly as fucking possible. Don't sit there with 20 players waiting to pull trash. That's just retarded. Clear the fucking trash. Are you joking? Get going. So that's the bad situation. Yes, they are right. That is wrong. That is fucking wrong. However, if you're telling me people are getting pissed at you for spending time with a potentially good player outside of raiding, I have absolutely no idea why you would question that decision either. If someone said, why are you spending all this time with that guy? My instant reply would, what fucking business is it of yours? What I do with my time. If I think this guy can be a good player, I'm going to help him out. If he turns out to be dog shit, we'll remove him. But I have fucking faith in this guy, so I'm going to give him some time out. The only time where you are affected by what I'm doing is during the raid. Seriously, that is the only fucking time ever that you can actually openly say, why are we doing this? Because that's your time as well. That's on your time. And that's rightfully so. So don't kick yourself in the teeth. What I would say is overall is be careful about helping too many people, because a lot of people like to shit on people who help them. A lot of people do that. I'm lucky that I'm protected from that. I'm not helping people directly. I'm helping everybody at the same time. But a lot of people want to get a certain place, believe they have done well, and move on. Happens all the time. They used to do it via gear. Same thing. They would join your guild, get gear, move on to somebody better. Happens all the time. You be very careful of having a high raider turnover, because now you're just a feeder guild. You don't want that either. You need to dedicate to what your goal as a guild is. As a casual raiding guild, you should be aiming to kill X boss then, within your guild's expectations. And if you have a new player who you think might be good, teach him as much as you can outside of raiding. Go into LFR with him on your time. If you are the one who wants to help him, take him to LFR. Take him to older raids where you don't need the actual core raiders. Do that. But when it comes to raid time, do not wait to start helping people as you get to the boss. You have forums. You have outside discussion for this. What you shouldn't have happening on a regular scale is clearing trash, getting to a boss, then start talking about it. If that is against your guild rules and you are not a world first guild, people should know what to expect and have a general idea of what the fuck is going on. You should. You should really do that, because now you might have a 3-hour raid where an hour of it is sat talking, people getting patient. The people you really shit on when you do things like that. I'm sure you've already been there. You've cleared the trash. You've got to the boss. Now what do we do? It's really bad that that happens. You know why? because there is at least 30% of the people in your raid who know exactly what to do and are really, really fucking pissed that the other percentage didn't bother to do any reading whatsoever. They're pissed. Really pissed, and rightfully so. If your guild raid leader says, hey, we're going to be doing this next week, find out about it. If he's asked to find out about it, just spend 5 minutes watching a fucking video. Get an idea for it. Know what's going on. Don't waste everybody else's time. Because there are now people in that raid who will hate being in your raid because of that. They will hate it. It doesn't matter if you are trying to help somebody. If you are doing a good thing in your eyes. Think about it from their point of view. They aren't there to deal with you helping them. Nobody wants to spectate somebody doing a one-to-one. Doesn't need to happen. Alright? Before I shoot off, have you got any questions for tonight? Because tomorrow is Drama Friday. What
I was going to scare you.
You're going to scare me with an open door?
What?
People can see you.
You can't see me.
They can. Licking your balls, Benjamin.
Yeah, got any.
He's got no balls. You got no balls, buddy. Any questions before I go? Yes, tomorrow is Drama Friday. I could do with one more story, I think. I've got a couple of good drama stories in. People are really going to be asking, what are you wearing? Which is good news.
The blanket.
It's a blankie. Questions at the end of the world tomorrow. I don't think so. If it is, I don't get to use my new PlayStation cable. Bastard. Or the whole page to its full effect, which is kind of a bastard. Emma's poncho is because it's so cold. I bought her that poncho for our anniversary. It's the warmest, snuggliest thing in the world. Brownie points, right? Earned me some McLovin. Earned me some McLovin. Anything else? You can't expect a casual guild to attack a boss flawlessly without some explanation. Some explanation is fine. Prolonged explanation is not. I don't want you to go away saying, hey, we should arrive at a new boss that we've never killed and just go and pull it. That's not what I'm saying. 10, 15 minutes of a little bit of discussion is fine to get people assigned, get people understanding, and just get people to get a little bit of a feel. But then you should be pulling because you need to experience it. What you don't want to happen is you turn up, spend 30, 40 minutes talking about the boss and going, okay, this is what will happen, this is what's going to happen, these things do this, especially when it's the jump to heroic. At worst, you should be expecting to say, this is what's different from heroic because everyone's killed it on normal. I'm certainly not saying it's like, right, clear the trash, let's pull this boss we've never seen before. I'm not saying that. There's a time and a place for everything. Everything requires some preparation. But don't let it run into an extended period of time where you're wasting other people's time. Start getting people assigned. You should already, as a raid leader, you should already have your raid plan in your mind. If you're a raid leader, you should say, right, there's certain roles. Let's take it from a simple example, like Stoneguard Heroic. Stark was working on Stoneguard Heroic yesterday. You know your raid as you're going in, right? You know your 10 people as you're going in. You know what needs to... Are you coming here to cough or what the fuck is going on here? Why don't you fuck off?
No, sorry. I've come to listen about Stormwind.
Oh, about Stormwind.
Is that what you said?
No.
Stormbreach.
Emma's ridiculously ill right now. The Stoneguard. You should already know who your lighters are going to be. What tanking order is going to be. You should know that stuff. It's not always the easiest way. You should start assigning people and getting an idea and reminding people of the major dangers. That's what you should go and do. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not expecting people to walk up to a boss for the first time, pull it and kill it. That isn't going to happen. Let's get realistic. But running into 30, 40 minutes of discussion, that's a waste of that's the waste of the other people's time who came prepared. There's a fine balance there you need to strike. Any other questions before we go? If the world ends tomorrow, will you still do the daily? Of course I'll do my daily. Pfft, kidding me? It's fucking Drama Friday. The end of the world ain't stopping Drama Friday. You shut up. What's my favourite role? Healer, tank or DPS? At the moment, DPS, and has been for a while. Tanking just doesn't appeal to me as much as it used to, and DPS has an endless amount of challenge, which I love. Are you going to make a learning to play video? I don't know what that is. Can I drive a tractor? I can. Like a meta level explain video. I don't know. Send me an email of what that idea might be. I'm not sure. Alright, I'm going. I'll see you tomorrow for Drama Friday. I hope you had an enjoyable show. I'm sure there will be a gif of me doing Typhoon around the internet any time now. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, and I will deal with the croaky old beast from the side. Bye.